It's your man, T-Dog Smooth, here with also your super amateur meteorologist update, because we are reporting live from Satan's asshole. I actually sweat through this shirt on the way home. So have we gotten to the point where our podcast is so boring, now we're going to talk about the weather?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. But before we talk about the weather and before we do our Pinterest, we actually got really, really lucky this weekend because we did not experience hot weather for your meet.
That's right.
We had the bougiest of the ballrooms.
We were in the air-conditioned, climate-controlled, big-ass ballroom.
And he heard shit from me all weekend about it, about how lucky and nice he was.
Yeah, the whole time. I don't think it stopped once. As soon as we got there, Friday morning for the weigh-ins, that's when I first heard it. I didn't stop hearing about it until Sunday morning when we were leaving.
I know. I was like, this guy. And all the things that have torn me apart, nothing has made me more whole. Covering the good, the bad, and the shit that just keeps us going. Straight from the head ref's table, I'm your host, Travis Papa Bear Rogers, and you are listening to a Forest to the Trees, a cave podcast. Here with my co-host and new official as of today, right?
Official
They
as of
just
today.
uploaded or updated Open Powerlifting.
Yes, sir.
8-10 in the books here from my man and co-host, Carl LeMaster, Big C, Coach Carl on the belt.
What's going on, guys?
So, obviously, fresh back from the meet, we want to talk about some meet recaps, kind of what is open powerlifting, that thing everyone's anticipating that your upload and records and results go through, also your rankings board, and how that translates to powerlifting as, hey, if I send my link to this while I'm invited or trying to register for a bigger meet, how does that get me invited or qualified to a ladder style event? What your first week back should look like, and a bunch of other stuff like post-meet blues, if it's a real thing, and some recovery and all kinds of stuff. Post-meet, deload, reload, that's what we're talking about today.
Everything to do after the fact.
All right, so I know some people are excited. We obviously did not have a live stream this weekend. So, Carl, let's talk about briefly, because you're not that cool, so I don't want to make it the whole podcast, your meet recap from the weekend, while I sadly got to idly sit back and watch my torch get passed.
So,
Tear.
starting off, I think I want to thank you for sticking around that whole time. I know it must have been hard for you to watch that.
Because we were actually supposed to do this meet together.
Yes, yeah.
So.
In the grand scheme, we were going to, and then, things happen, things get pushed to the side, and
Titty tendons get pushed to the side.
that's right. Starting off strong, we had the squats. We all had numbers. We talked about numbers for maybe a couple weeks prior.
I think you're jumping the gun a little bit. Let's talk about I want to talk to especially our listeners. I want to talk about the experience. Right?
Oh, okay.
So
how soon do you want me to start?
Here, I'll guide in to ask you questions so you can answer them fully. So that way I can kind of guide the conversation.
Okay,
so
let's go.
big thing was normal weigh-in, but it was an RPS meet, so we didn't have to thoroughly check our gear in, minus them looking at the difference between single ply and multiply and actually making sure your shirt was what you said it was, your briefs were what you said it was, etc. Right? So we got some leeway in that, but you weighed in super light, am I right?
Yes. So, morning of weigh-ins. I weighed myself. I got a scale at home, and I sat myself at 215.6, which I was on the lighter side of what I wanted to be then. I'd been training at 217, and I know it's not that big of a difference, but 2 pounds in the gear could mean...
Well, yeah, I say, and especially depending on what type of audience member you are listening to us, 2 to 5 pounds in a piece of equipment can make a really big difference.
Not necessarily the squat suit with the cords, but definitely the shirt. Definitely the shirt.
Yeah. You don't got the cords and extra laces to tighten up the shirt.
Yeah. So I was going into this okay, we're making this drive up here. I'm a little bit light right now. I just got to make sure I eat enough when I get there. It was about a 4-hour ride. We get up there, weigh-ins, and it hit me when I stood on that scale. It said a big 210. So about 5 pound difference between a 4-hour ride. Either my scale's heavy, their scale's light, whichever it may be. Probably my scale.
I think, and I meant to, and I did talk to you briefly about this while we're away, and I think this is a good thing for not only you to hear and listeners to hear, but as other coaches to hear, right? So as a coach, I should be, oh shit, we should worry. But I think the big thing to think is if Carl, or in your case, your athlete, had been weighing in on the same, because basically you were the same, right?
Yeah,
on your scale.
Nothing changed for me.
Right. So that's the important thing to remember is it's whatever scale you're weighing in on at the meet, right, that shouldn't send you into a panic.
Almost did.
Especially in a geared lifting, because your gear's still going to fit the same because you've been testing it against the scale at home this entire
The whole
time.
time.
So when you said you were light, I knew you weren't that light. It was just one of the scales was off. Right?
Yeah, and we said that there too. We're like, well, I feel the same.
Right.
Nothing feels different. So let's just not worry about it too much.
And you look the same. It wasn't like when you
Right.
see me cut weight and you're like, dude, you look bad right now.
I can
right?
see your skull outline.
right. It wasn't one of those ordeals. So I knew not to panic, and I knew you were going to be good. I think the only thing we really didn't anticipate, especially with that drop, is you did bloat a little the second day.
Yes.
So the shirt was a little tighter than we anticipated.
Yeah, and we'll get over to that in a second
for
here.
sure.
But
the layout itself, the meet was super nice.
Yeah.
Like we said before, ballroom, plenty of room to warm up.
Big ballroom.
Yeah. AC controlled. Like our hotel room was literally what
90 feet.
a less than a minute walk from the warm up area. So like the warm up and the platform were of course in the same room. The warm ups being on the left and right side of the platform, back behind the platform. So it was a monolift meet. We did use a 65-pound squat bars to the big thickums. We did have a bulldog bar for bench, which was
50-pound
50.
bench bar.
And the deadlift bar, I'm pretty sure was a...
That was an Oki bar.
It was an
45.
Oki, so it was a 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar to Texas bar,
Yeah.
I would say, according to if you were trying to compare whip-wise, right?
Maybe a little bit stiffer than a Texas.
Yeah, I would, and it's nowhere near close to like a Kabuki whip or anything like that. I would definitely say it's a little stiffer in a Texas, which if the knurling is nice, I really enjoy. Like
I do
I
too.
really feel you can get a good handle.
That
on
was
it.
my first time using one, and
Yeah.
I really didn't notice the difference. I'm not a huge puller. If somebody's pulling like 800-900 pounds, maybe they'll be like, oh, this is totally different. I'm only pulling maybe 600 pounds on a good day, so it's like, yeah, I just went with it.
Right. Other big things we needed to consider. The plates in the back room, all old school iron plates.
Yeah.
Right? So we were used to making kilo jumps in our gym because we compete on kilos and host meets in kilos.
Mm-hmm.
So what was one of the things we did in warm up? We took the 45-pound plates plus a 10, right?
Yeah,
so
I
we
was
were
that
getting,
guy.
Yeah, we were getting as close to Carlos' kilo jumps that we had practiced all this prep and block before that.
I think, how many people did we have taking squats with us in the beginning? Like maybe like 5 other people?
Yeah, but it ended up being like...
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, probably 7 or 8. Because me, Rob, and Alex, per usual,
The crew.
jumped in and said, hey, what's your height? What do you want on the bar? Blah, blah, blah. And we just ran the whole mono for everyone warming up on that side because we wanted to have a flow of the meet. We knew where Carl was in the meet. We knew a couple other heavy squatters in that flight where they needed to be and who needed to take their last warm-ups accordingly. That being said, that's a very big thing for you as a coach and as an athlete is timing that last warm-up before you go out on the platform. So if I have Carl and he's, the third biggest opening squat in that flight, right? I don't want him to take his, last warm-up before he hits the platform halfway through third
flight.
attempts of
Yeah.
the flight in front of him because he might have a 15 to 20 minute dead period, right?
Yeah.
And I do not want him to get that cold, right? So what we did is I waited till 2 people had taken their openers, right? Yeah, about
the flight was already out there.
the flight had already started, so I made Carl wait.
Slightly
just to make him nervous. I knew what was going on, and I had to wrap your knees, so I knew what was going on. I just needed you to panic and breathe, so it was fine.
You weren't seeing enough gray hairs in me yet. You had to.
No, you put enough on me. I figured it was time to trade and put some on you. So I made him wait to take his about 1 to 2 out since the flight had already started. That is lifters, 1 to 2 lifters had already taken their opener, and then we made our way to go situate ourselves on where we wanted to wrap. Luckily, me wrapping his knees, we were very close to the platform, maybe a 15 -foot walk.
It was
pretty
far.
close.
Yeah.
And
we could see everything going on from where we were.
And they allowed me to be in between, finagled on the side, to call depth and count him down and out after I wrapped his knees and set his straps. I think one of our biggest benefits to that is you had gotten used to me calling you in training.
Definitely.
And that first squat was an absolute spanked.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Spanked. It was your last warm up too. I mean, your last couple warm ups, you knew like, okay, we're gonna have a good
I
day.
definitely felt super confident once I had like over 6 plates on there, and I was like banging them out. I was like, okay,
Because our last warm up was 705.
705. So it was like whatever plates and a 5 on it with the bar we were using and the pound plates.
So we went 705 as last warm up. Walked on the platform. I called 750, smoked it. We even got I'm trying to get Carl out of straps and wraps. And this side judge is like, oh my God, finally a coach who knows how to call depth and equipment.
Meanwhile, I don't know where I'm going afterwards, and I'm like wandering off
and I'm
front of the
like,
monolith.
oh man, I
still
really
wrapped
appreciate
up.
the compliment. And I'm trying to get away from Carl and like be nice at the same time. I'm like, dude, I gotta get him out of these things. He can't breathe.
I got stick drift. I'm just walking away.
Yeah, he's just floating around. So then I make my way back to the table. We call 785. I made him sit down and chill out. I've already cut my finger open on the first one. So I'm asking guys around us for some sort of sticky tape or something so I can tape my nail bed down. Because I always get super hype wrapping him and I'll push my fingers up. And his has the rubber grips. So they'll grab your cuticles and pull back. And of course you end up bleeding by the time you're wrapping your guy's knees. 785 was good.
It was great, dude. I felt really comfortable in that one too. I think it moved a little bit slower, but it was actually...
Yeah.
It felt
control-wise, it looked even better.
Yeah.
A little, you're right. A little slower, but control and tension-wise, we were really, really good. I think we went slightly tighter on the straps and kept the knees the same. Correct?
Yes.
And then the third one, I told you I'm going to go a little bit tighter up top, and I'm going to make that final revolution in the knee wraps. So bring on the tears.
And I actually asked you to take my torso a little bit tighter before that one as well.
Because we had loosened up a little bit, gotten a little breathing room.
On the Ultra Pro. So that helped a lot. I think having the adjustments on the suit on the fly like that carried over pretty well, and we were able to adjust it as we went.
Now, the most we had taken in training was 805, but after watching the 85, I knew you were good for 810, so I made the executive decision to go 810. I didn't tell him until it's hard at RPS meets to keep it a secret.
They're calling it. It's on the big screen, you know.
They call it on the screen, so it's not like I can be like, hey, don't tell him. Just let him go do the weight and listen to me. But they called it, and you made out fine, man. It was awesome. We got to hug afterwards. Got you from red to purple and back safely without passing out.
Right, yeah, it's always a win.
Had a really good squat session.
And nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt. That's always my
biggest
thing.
thing.
Yeah, and I was fine. And it was really cool because we had Rob with us, who was back spotting.
Yep.
We had Alex and me, rapping, and Alex was holding the chair. And we had our Bear Cave member, Bo Roeder, his dad came out and hung out with us all day. Was super kind, very complimentary. Was a really cool guy and had a great time with us. Talked about how much Bo loves the cave and how much respect he has for us after he's been to our meets. And I said, hey, you're holding wraps for me. You're helping me with Carl.
He fit right in.
Yeah,
he
I said,
straight into it.
He said, well, I'm going to watch. I said, no, dude, get your ass up here. Be in the business with the boys and have a good time. And he absolutely loved it. We got some pictures with him. And I was texting his son, Bo, while we were there. But shout out to him, man. We had a great time with him. And I'm really, I love that when parents come out to support not only their lifters, but of course, like their friends as well, and seeing how much more of it makes it a community and groups team sport than, a lot of people think it is.
Right, exactly.
On to bench?
Now we're on the bench. There was there was 3 flights on the squat, and there was a bunch of guys doing a bench only during this meet. So there's 4 flights. There's an extra flight for bench. It took a little bit extra time between the thirds on squat to go to bench. I think it was about an hour and a half in between, I'd say.
Yeah, it was a little slow.
Yeah, so about an hour and a half before we started getting into that flight. So I was warming up once.
Because I felt like squats moved at a good pace, but it got to a crawl on bench. It
did.
Slowed down a lot.
There was extra people. The bench shirts take longer time, I feel like.
Yeah,
anyway. I started warming up once we got into the flight before us. Like as soon as they were like done wrapping up, I was already on the bench taking the bar and taking quarter and then plates and all that.
Now I will say that was one thing I really want to try to slow down. I felt like we warmed up on bench a little quick.
Did you?
I was trying to slow you down a little bit because I got talking to two guys behind Carl, both in shirts, one in a single ply, one in a F8 unlimited shirt. Then I was trying to time their warm-ups as well as also be out there for a 5-man team for the guy after Carl, who was having some of the heaviest benches of the day. Someone who had previously competed with me and knew who I was. I, of course, offered my help, and I said, hey, I know you got 2 guys with you, but, you know, you're fucking with some real weight. Like, please let me and one of my other guys step out and side spot you. So you have a full 5-man team. We won't feather it. We won't do anything you don't want. I just want to make sure you're safe, and he really appreciated that, and we had a great day.
Right?
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones. Shout out Mike Jones.
Yeah,
what a baller.
Turning 50 and putting up outrageous weight.
2,300 pounds?
2250.
2250.
Yeah, if he had made the last deadlift, would have been.
Don't want to misspeak.
Yeah, so we watched him have a mishap and miss a 5-plate warm-up and squat in the warm-up room, and then walked out there and took 900 as his last squat. It was crazy impressive.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and super sweet guy. Very nice. Very old school. Just really happy to be there and keeping up with the young bucks, if not absolutely demolishing
Wiping
them.
the floor.
Yeah, sweet guy. Really, shout out Mike, man. It was a pleasure. Also, Chuck. What's Chuck's last name? Chuck Miller.
Oh, from with Ralph?
Yeah. Well, Coach Sarney.
Yes.
Coach Sarney coaches him, but he was with Ralph from Death Wish.
Yeah, and Matt.
I'm pretty sure his last name's Miller.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Chuck, shout out to Chuck and Ralph too. They were big help.
Cool guys.
And Chuck is hysterical. Talk about a dude just happy to be there.
What a character.
Yeah, he's straight up reminding me of a cartoon character, just laughing and carry on, and like really quirky and bullshit.
That's the kind of attitude you gotta have in a meet, man.
Yeah,
like,
he's fun.
He's just having a good time
Yeah.
and putting up a good ass total too. Like,
keeps the stress levels a little bit lower when everything seems to get tight and serious. But let's talk about those last warm-ups for bench shirt, because you had your man's butt tight. I was nervous.
So we get the shirt on, and it's not completely set, but I'm taking my 3-board. I know some people like to float their attempts in the warm-up room before they go out. I always like to take boards. It's just a staple I use in my training, so it's easy to translate into warm-up room. I took a 3-board, and the shirt was riding way too high. It was like choking me out as I was getting down there. Which was, not optimal.
But it was tight, so you were starting to float a little bit. So even though the shirt was riding up and you were feeling a choke, I didn't want to do the opposite and put an elbow into it and make it even harder to get down, because you started floating early to a 1-board, and I was stressed. I hadn't seen you float like that in a long time.
Yeah, we took a 2-board. We dropped down to 1-board. By that point, I'm like 30 pounds off what I'm going to open with.
Yeah, and we're still not making it to a 1.
Which was scary for me too, but I didn't want to express that to him. I knew he was already scared.
I was like, oh God.
So we walk out there with the opener. Took 530, which was a light touch for me in that shirt. Probably one of the lightest I've done.
Yeah, we had practiced it though.
We had,
but you even joked with me after that opener. You did a terrible job listening on that one. I was telling him to stay wide and keep the touch lower to the abdomen, and he just like, there was a little bit where you started to panic, and then you're like, nah, son, I'm gonna take this way up higher. And I was like, nope, that's the opposite of what I want you to do.
So it wasn't pretty.
No, because it was misgrooved hard.
But it counted, and I got a bench in, and that was the big relief. Like I've talked about before, the first bench is probably one of the scariest things for me.
It's more common for people to bomb out in a shirted bench than probably any other lift in equipment.
But we got one.
We got one
in there, and it took a lot of nerves off. We were able to, I told Travis afterwards, I was like, hey, that was rough. We both saw that.
I know. I was there. I was over top of you lifting it out.
Let's put some more weight on. I'll keep my ears open as well as I can, and it'll get down a little bit easier.
And that was true. That did hold true for 550. Yeah. 550 was great. Very impressed with 550.
We decided to match a PR. This was pound plates. My last one was kilos. So my last one was 51. This was 50. It's a 1 pound difference. I matched a PR. Let's just say that. So 550 went pretty well. It was an easy press. I got it, back up in the rack, no problems. 3 whites or greens there.
This was the hard call to make, because we had originally planned 60 or 65.
Yes.
And I was hesitant on calling 65, but Carl wanted to take a shot at it, so I allowed him. I put in for 65. Now we did miss it, sort of. I think we should talk about that a little bit. But I was upset afterwards, because I put this on a lot for my lifters. If you miss a lift, like, the first thing I analyze is like, hey, is there a different call or thing I could have done to make this go better? And he thinks that we would have had just a difficult time even if it was 5 pounds less.
Yeah, I don't think it would have made too much of a difference.
Yeah.
So what had happened was, I'm not making. It sounds like I'm making. What had happened was,
You got to make your post meet recap excuses.
I'll post it and be like, "Do you guys think this was meant to be a white light or a red light?"
Vote in the story. Don't do that. I'll disown you.
I know. So the handoff was great. I had it. I got the start command. Going down the path. The bar path was great. I felt like.
Yeah, downward we were.
It was pretty solid.
Yeah, we were
pretty stoked about that. I got a good a touch. The press call was there, and I'm driving up and back. It's coming over my like upper chest to where it should be before I get to the rack, and it starts drifting on my right side. It just wasn't weight that I could handle to correct that at the time.
Yeah, you got back further on the right side.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a hard correction.
It definitely was something I should have been able to balance out, but it drifted and I couldn't carry it over.
Yeah.
There was a confusion in the rack call and where the bar was and what it was doing. And the guys around me are just there keeping me safe. They're spotting, they're seeing this bar drift and go back down. They're going to grab that,
So me and one of Mike's guys, I was obviously on top of you, but I had stepped slightly to the left while still spotting to allow the head judge to be close to see the call. And the other guy was on the left side of me. So we're looking at your right side, which is the side that's dipped and drifting. She calls a rack command, and me and him can both obviously see Carl has drifted. It is not locked out.
I'm not saving this.
Yeah, he's not going to save this. But she had called rack, so when they did, they helped him into the rack, and they gave it to him 2-1.
Yeah, I got up thinking like, wow, that was scary. I'm glad I'm out of that, and oh well, we'll move on to the next one. I turned to my right, and I have 2-1.
Yeah, and so me and the other guy were equally as shocked, and Carl said he can see my face in the video.
yeah, you could definitely. You're like, wow, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, it was what we would refer to as a gift, and so Carl talked to me and. Very proud of you for this, and I vocalized this at the meet because I've turned down lifts that had been a referee error, I would say, and me being an experienced referee myself, like I'm not afraid to turn down a call that was not justly earned.
Right.
And I told Carl, I said, dude, you've done such a great job in a short amount of time holding the standard of geared lifting, actually taking things to depth, actually locking thing out, giving geared, equipped lifting what it should look like and be a good name. I would hate for you to take that gift, and that would be the thing people think of when they see you lift.
Yeah, and some people are going to disagree with that. They're going to say, hey, if the judge gave it to you, you got to take it. It's just part of the sport.
A lot of their coaches aren't also national world judges either.
Yeah.
So,
but I respect your opinion, and I know what kind of standard I want to withhold. So I had no problem going up to the table. I told Amy, I said, hey, just scratch that lift. That was not locked out. That's not a good lift.
Yeah.
Let's just move on from that. Which it's no big deal. I know I can clean it up by next time, and I already matched a PR on my bench previously, so I wasn't hurt.
We did have the referee also come over to us and try to explain what happened, which obviously is kind of like a, I won't mention people by name, but that is kind of a foresight of where they're like the referee understands they made a bad call and are trying to clean up for it.
Sure.
So
it's not any disrespect to them either. Like I'm not trying to like shit on.
People are human. You make bad calls.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on their call. I'm just saying like I wasn't proud of that, so I'm gonna take that away.
You want one you earned, and you can say, hey, this is what happened. This is what I did. I earned this thing.
Right.
And there was also a bad call literally right after you.
Yes.
Made for Mike Jones benching an extraordinary amount of weight, which got a little scary and things got heated. But I don't want to speak on that because I respect Mike a lot and I respect his performance and who he has as a lifter, and I love lifting around him. So I'll just say the call that was made on him, he still got the lift, but it was earned more than it should have been, and it could have got very, very dangerous.
He worked for that.
Safety was at jeopardy, and it was not a good look for the referee.
Yeah. So moving on from that, we got to our deadlifts.
Speaking of not a good look, I gotta mention the fucking collar thing, dude.
Okay,
I'll be
go
damned.
ahead.
I actually messaged John Flagg about this, and he about shit a brick.
Yeah. Everybody I've talked to has also been like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. So obviously, if you've listened to this podcast, if you've been to my meets before, I'm very big on safety and making sure everyone has an opportunity to stay safe, to be spotted correctly, to have the proper equipment to keep themselves safe. This was not that. So we're warming up to about 2 plates. Now I will say the bars and equipment were both taken very good care of.
Yeah, the equipment worked great.
The equipment was oiled, like the barbells were, you could tell they were freshly cleaned, like it was good. What was not good is when we started warming up, and obviously there's been oil, and even if you dry it off, they're going to be slicker for the first couple of times you use it. The plates are old school iron, so they start separating and jingling and moving out for the rack. Now, all it takes is, even 1 to 2 plates on a bad sideways pick that's not centered, and you got one, disc coming off one side, the bar flipping into mono, someone gets hit in the teeth, like, bad shit happens quick. So I asked the meet director, I said, hey, there's no collars out here. Do you guys have collars you're keeping somewhere? And I'm sorry, I just haven't seen them yet. And they said, oh, we don't put those out anymore because people steal them. And so that kind of took me by off because, I offer collars at my meets, and any meet I've been to has collars. Like, even if it was shitty, the Easy Bar spring collars, like
also,
something.
they're not expensive.
They're not.
That's not an excuse, oh, you can just buy another pair. People are stealing. Well, you shouldn't say that. People shouldn't be stealing them to begin with. But they're not expensive.
Yeah, and obviously knowing us, we had brought, boards to touch. We had brought everything you could think of, baby powder, all that shit. But the last thing we expected us needed to bring was
the collars.
Yeah, the collars. So now we're definitely keeping a pair of Kabuki ones in my truck, no matter where we go.
If you guys follow me on Instagram, I'll probably put a picture of my squat warm-ups on my story. You can see we got a wrist wrap wrapped around the bar so the plates didn't slide once we got to the heavier ones.
But the response was what really threw me off, and this was unexcusable. So I said, well, what are we going to do when we get hired? Because there's a couple guys out here, even for the ones not squatting that, but especially for the guys squatting, 500, 600, 700 pounds, where there's, quite a few of those old school metal plates sliding around. She said, well, if you're warming up that heavy and it's that dangerous, maybe you shouldn't be going that heavy.
Yeah, which is
pretty fucking crazy to say at a powerlifting meet. Like, the name of the game is...
If you need collars for that weight, you're warming up too heavy.
Yeah, that's what she said to me verbatim. And it was... I'm sure my face said it all when she said it to me.
I was shocked.
Yeah, I was very shocked when that was the reply. So, at no point in time is that an excusable thing and right to do to a lifter. Their safety should not be a jeopardy because you decided you wanted to save $10 on fucking spring collars.
But we improvised, adapted, overcome.
We did.
Wrist wraps came in clutch. I brought an extra pair just in case, and we used them for the squat bar.
Yes, we did. So after bench, we had it was a long break.
Another hour and a half.
Yeah, it was a long ass meet. But there's quite a few lifters. 48
full power lifters. Yeah,
48. So 48, and then we got into deadlifts. Deadlifts, your warm ups look great.
Let's talk a little bit before that because I showed up to get back in my briefs, and I was sweaty. The briefs were used prior to that, and they were still a little sweaty, and it's gross. But I had to get back in the briefs, and it took a little bit extra time than I wanted it to. And I feel like I showed up to the warm-ups a little bit later than everybody else. Like, they already had 2 1/4 on or 3 plates on, and I had to ship it back down to 1.
But it did favor us though, because that was the opposite of bench. Bench is we warmed it a little too soon.
Yeah. I still made some bigger jumps going through my deadlifts. I only took 4 warm-ups going through. I was, I had a full day already. Went through with bench and squat. I'm ready to get going and get out of there.
Yeah.
I pull, 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 1/4, 4 1/4 dime with straps, and then I'm going out to take my opener. They all went really well. My last, the 4 plate 1/4 dime, I was able to. I couldn't throw it through the roof, or I could have thrown it through the roof.
Yeah, it was good.
That's when we had straps up, get the suit set, pull them back down, and we're sitting. I think I probably had maybe 15 to 20 minutes before I went out there for my opener.
Yeah,
so it was
that's why I say
definitely rushed it once I got into it. But I felt
I felt you could have slowed down, but you were nervous. I could tell you were ready. You were anxious. You were ready to get it done.
Yeah.
Worst part was opener comes up, and this man's like, do we have enough time to get out of my suit? I gotta pee. And the only thing I could think of was at Freaks 2 with Tim Brown going to the bathroom, and they're calling his name, and he's washing his hands and running out there with wet hands to go deadlift. And I'm like, Carl, you are not going to Tim Brown me right now. You better hold that piss.
So the thing was, when we were sitting down chilling for the hour and a half, I was getting in all my water. I had an element packet that I threw in there, and ate a little bit. But I drank so much that I went to the bathroom before we started, and that kind of opened the floodgate.
Yeah.
I was got my gear on. I'm
shit. And powerlifting, you would call it breaking the seal.
Yeah.
Once you go once, it's you can't stop for the rest of the day.
So that was fun.
Yeah. So we got our opener, real smooth.
Oh,
opener.
I floated it before it even like.
Yeah, it was
before I
very
started
very
the
nice
pool.
opener. We kept the straps the same all the time, correct?
For the first and second.
Yeah.
I took 525 for an opener. It moved really well. Definitely an opener. At this point, I'm like walking back and forth, pacing like 20 feet either direction, like in between my attempts.
Try not to piss your pants.
And we load. What do we load? 565. We took a 40
Yeah,
pound jump.
565.
That was, so the opener actually secured me a PR total, which is the biggest thing. That got me an 1880 something, which would be like
Because I made it so we would PR the total, then I would made sure that the next one was 1925.
Right.
And if we successfully got the third, I made sure it would hit 1950 on the dot.
Right. So the first one was like a 16 or 17 pound total PR, and then I wanted to cross that 19, which was my main goal for the meet, which was 565. That one wasn't perfect. I think positionally I got a lot of things to work on, and I mean the pool it was still a good pool, but it was definitely like not something I had been doing. I think I'd pulled that a lot easier in training.
It did, but it looked really good. My biggest bugaboo was the third one. Because you got that, was it the first one? The first one windmilled?
The second one,
Second one windmilled a little bit. And I've seen you done that in training a couple times. And it had been prominent recently, but it's what happens when you usually rush the bottom.
Yes. Yep.
And you started getting a little too excited.
Yeah, definitely did. So we got that 565, pushed me over the 19 barrier, which was our goal. And from there, we just wanted to secure that 1950. So we made the jump to 590, which wasn't a deadlift PR, but it crosses that, to the 1950s.
Based on how things were going, that was, I think, a pretty damn good call because it got a little dicey.
Yeah. I definitely thank the fast down command on that one.
Yeah, he started to pinwheel again. I thought he was going to lose it.
Yep, I definitely felt like if I had to hold it there for like another couple seconds, it would have been
Yeah.
Would have been
I
dirty.
agree.
But 590 came up, got my down command, set her back down, and did like a 360 because I was just like so in a rush and so like out of it. I didn't know where the board was, even though it's been in the same spot all day. I turned all the way around.
Yeah.
And the back spot, dude with the mohawk, what's his name in the kilt?
Oh, Alexander.
Yeah, I turn around to him and he's like, "What are you looking at me for?" Like I'm turned around, his eyes get big, and I'm looking back around. And I see I think it was 3.
Yeah, it was 3.
And I walk off. We're all good. Those guys ripped me out of my gear. I ran straight to the men's room.
So to wrap it up real quick so we can move on, we 8 for 9, 1950 total, and the dots ended to be what, 556?
555 point like.
Okay,
8.
so
Yeah.
almost 56. You were right on the money.
Yeah, and for a gloss, that's like a 524.
Okay, cool.
So all in total, like a great meet. I think it's like an 80-some pound total PR. First one in multi.
Yeah,
And,
very successful, and like we said, already uploaded to Open Powerlifting.
Right, at 210 too. So like,
Yeah, later.
had a lighter body weight. So that's that. That was the meet.
Yeah, it was a good one. I had a good time. It was. We'll have to remember to go to that one because as far as conditions wise, it was very, very nice.
Right, we're just gonna have our own clips.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So one of the things we want to talk about, especially talking about Carl anticipating the upload to Open Powerlifting. What is Open Powerlifting? Open Powerlifting, if you haven't heard of it, is a website. I believe it's just
It's a database. It's
openpowerlifting.org. It's a national and world rank database that catalogs. I think they've gone back to the 70s and redone some of the magazines in there as well.
Yep.
That catalogs everybody's totals throughout the history, that as much of it they could grab anyways, stemming from like back into the 70s and things like that. Now they don't differentiate between like what single ply is now versus what single ply is.
If it was labeled single
then.
ply then, it's labeled single ply.
Yeah.
That's
so,
what it is.
Yeah, a little bit different as far as that goes. If you're looking at that sort of thing historically, but we're looking at things like Powerlifting USA magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're looking at things like Mark Bell's Power magazine. Then we pushed into, and I believe Mark Bell Power was still, people were still looking at that when I was starting. So you're talking about like 2014. Okay. And then I don't think, and then Powerlifting Watch was a thing for a while. And I'm trying to think of the year Powerlifting Watch got shut down or stopped updating everything. I want to say that was probably like 3 or 4 years into me teaching because I was in new tech. So I'd probably say that was around like 2017, maybe.
So what did Powerlifting Watch do? If Open Powerlifting is a database for everybody's rankings to be put in.
So Open Powerlifting wasn't a thing back then. A lot of people went to Powerlifting Watch because it tracked like your top 50s of
like
all
the
time.
top
So
guys.
like it was really looking. It was more or less like you weren't going to check just like meet history. You were more so looking for rankings
Records.
boards. You were looking
Gotcha.
for rankings and records.
Gotcha.
And then that got shut down because I believe that guy got caught with child pornography, and he's in prison now. Which is crazy because I mean it's powerlifting. Nobody in powerlifting has ever, touched somebody inappropriately. That stuff just never happens in
It's
our
full
sport.
of saints.
Yeah, fucking disgusting. Our whole sport, fucking disgusting. And that's for everyone doing shit like that, and also you so-called bodybuilding coaches that have your fucking female clients spread starfish, spread eagle because you need to see that angle for a special check-in photo. You piece of shit. Sorry.
You know who you are.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened with that. And then Open Powerlifting blew up, and now that's the database everyone uses now. And then I want to say how many years into that before Dots took over
Dude, I
Wilkes?
don't know.
Because Wilkes was still...
We can have a whole other talk on the coefficients.
We would have to really like sit down and like do some history lessons in that. But everyone uses Open Powerlifting now, and usually dots and totals are the things you're looking for, registering and qualifying for meets. So hopefully Carl's dots and the gloss. Gloss is what we usually use for bigger meets and geared lifting to get a little invite somewhere possibly.
I don't think this one would be enough. I think a 525 is like, or 524 is like right under some of the like the bigger meets qualification
Right.
numbers. But it's my first one.
But I mean, hey, just remember though, you're number one in my heart.
Oh well, that's all.
That's all we went there for anyway.
In the powerlifting rankings in your book,
in my book,
my name over and over again.
It is. It's just the top teams. It's like Dylon. Instead of
Rob's
Dylon though, it's
Rob's in
Carl,
there,
Carl,
too.
and Carl.
It's like Carl, Rob, Carl.
So what we really want to talk about too is what your first week back from your meet should look like, and whether that's not you're decided you're going to touch a barbell or not, or get back to the basics and do some BB bodybuilding work. Now me typically, I usually take, and I know this is crazy me saying this because I feel like I'm never away from a barbell. I try to do a bodybuilding break, especially because as I've gotten older and competed at higher levels and more frequently, my joints really, really need the break, especially stuff in shirts.
Yeah.
Like usually my wrists are pretty shot, my elbows are a little spicy. Sometimes one of my knees, depending on which one is the good one or bad one this week, which is,
It's a toss-up.
A coin toss in itself. But usually if we're sticking to our barbell, you're looking at really light, low-level loads, very equivalent to that of what we took maybe even that week prior, looking at that 50 to 60%.
Yeah, I was even going to ballpark a 45%.
Yeah. Now, I think we've done and when we do, even though we train conjugate with AR, I would say that even those weeks back, we don't use AR that whole first week back.
No,
we don't add any extra chains or bands or anything like that. It's literally just kind of like greasing the wheels and getting back into motion, kind of acclimating to like, oh shit, my body hurts. I'm about to do this again. But I prefer definitely a all bodybuilding split, really pushing blood into all the places that are aching from the meat. A lot of unilateral stuff and stability-based things, and also encouraging extra recovery as far as like flossing joints, mobility and stretching. You and me we're going to work on this for you this week, but I've come back and done a lot of sled pushes and backwards walking on a treadmill,
Yep.
those sorts of things. And I also do like using the recumbent or spin bike too.
Yeah, definitely.
Resistance biking always helps me too, especially pushing blood flow in areas. But before you can decide those things, you have to evaluate, number one, how the meet went as far as like, did you make it back in one piece? Because obviously you don't want to jump into barbell work if something was hurt during the actual barbell work at the meet.
Yeah, if you're not in one piece, then I don't think you should touch anything just yet.
Yeah. So you really need to consider like all the aspects of the meet and really sit down with yourself and be honest and review your meet. Like, what are some things you missed? Why do you think that is? Was it because you were fickle and didn't make really good decisions with your tree, your
tree.
choice selection tree of your attempts? But how to really set that new goal and plan around for attending your next meet or next goal, right? So I would say, what are some things we talked about for you, Carl?
Well, after the meet, I think we focused a lot on how the bench went and things we can do to correct that in the, going forward. We're talking about different things we can add in on our max effort days.
One of yours is we're talking about lockout and stability, so we're looking to add
Put some floor press in
floor
there.
press. Floor press.
Definitely. Excited to try that. I've done it a couple times, but I've never had it fully in a rotation. So with the first go around with that on like a max effort day, it was just gonna be like, hey, what can I do? And then we'll just go from there.
Another big thing I want to work on with you too is some possible heavier block pulls, because we get that pinwheel at the top.
Yeah, definitely.
For deadlifts. So I really was thinking that through about like punching our hips through and making sure they're punching through evenly and we're not one side than the other, so we're not getting that whip to one side,
Sure.
which almost caused us to lose it at the meet. So
Yes.
patience with that is going to be a big thing I want to work on with you. So again, like the things we're talking about, evaluating where some of your shortcomings fell through at the meet and thinking about, okay, so now I have the time to, I'm not in a prep, I can sit back and reanalyze how could I make this better? What are some things I could possibly do without or cut to add in and take out?
Right.
Now, again, we talk a lot about reinventing the wheel. Like, you don't need to do that. If your meet prep was pretty damn successful, look at those shortcomings and make some swats, but there's no reason if you did astonishingly well. Like, Carl, how big was your PR for your total?
It was like an 80-some pound.
Yeah, so that's fantastic.
It's pretty sizable.
So that doesn't mean we need to come home and say, all right, from scratch, we're getting rid of fucking absolutely everything.
I think that as far as a percentage goes, I think you should really only be changing, if your outcome was good, I think you'd only be changing maybe 15% of what you're doing. Maybe. So adding like a couple different variations on the max effort days might be good for us. But other than that, like a lot of what we did worked.
And what would you say about if we're looking at like time frames and setting a goal and setting a new meet? I'm going to put you on the spot. When do you want to compete again, Carl?
December.
December.
Maybe October.
Now, October's close, because what's that put us, 3 months?
That is 3 months. Yeah,
That's pretty tight.
14 weeks, I think.
Yeah, that puts us pretty tight. So when you're looking at especially athlete levels, consider how many meets you're doing a year, how hard those meets are, and of course what it avails you to allow you to travel, family needs, things like that, because obviously that takes a heavy consideration too as far as how many meets you're doing a year. As you get older, I would definitely say no more than 1 to 2 meets a year, full meets.
I'm already at my 2.
So
February now. I got one more.
That's
I'm not
pretty
gonna do
hard.
more
I
than
would
one.
definitely only do one more for the year. That's pushing pretty hard, especially since we haven't had like a good one. If it was up to me personally, as a friend, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gung ho for you. You're doing great. As your coach, I would say December is definitely where we're at, because you're going to want a longer time for us to implement these things and really work on those
See
things.
some carryover. If you're competing every other month, you're not getting a lot of carryover in your training.
You're not, and you don't have, especially in gear, you don't have a lot of time to fix technical cues in those pieces of equipment, like bench shirts and things like that. So I would say December for you is a much better choice, because that puts us like 6 months.
That would be 6
Yeah,
months.
almost
I
doubles.
believe there's a NPL in PA.
It is. It's at Power Build.
It's at Power Build.
Yeah, Power Build, and it's a mono meet.
So I got my eyes set on that
Yeah,
one. That'd be a
mono meet.
6th month turnaround.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. And again, so like 3 meets max a year, more preferably like 2. Now, of course, like, again, pot calling the kettle black. I know I'm the worst. That's why I'm not coached, right? I'm a really good coach, but I'm a really bad athlete.
Terrible.
So terrible. I do shit back to back like you're not supposed to. And but hey, look at me. I'm all kinds of fucked up.
Mr. One Titty now.
Yeah. So I have knees that don't look like knees anymore. So I mean, take what you want from that, but learn from my mistakes. But I had fun doing it.
That's the point. The point of the sport's to have fun.
Yeah. It's not about the injuries you've acquired.
No.
It's about the memories you made along the way. I feel like that shouldn't be how
The
that's
games
said.
were the friends we made along the way.
I feel like the quote should not say that about injuries. So post meet blues, Carl. Are you sad?
Okay, I'm not sad.
Are you,
I'm actually
is it your
very
sad
happy.
boy era?
I'm pretty happy right now. I'm
Okay.
pretty glad that it's over.
Okay. Now, post-meet blues is a real thing, though. A lot of lifters
it totally
experience this, especially like your early lifters, like your first meet or so. You get so hyped up. There's so much adrenaline and endorphins leading into the meet. So many big feelings while you're there, and celebratory, and crying, and your family, and yada yada. And then that all goes away when you realize I'm going home the next couple of days to like fuck around with some dumbbells and stretch.
Yeah, you got no plan of what's going on next. You might not even have a block, set out for yourself to keep training. You're just like, well, that was it. I trained for X amount of time, and in one day, in 3 lifts, now it's done.
And I think it's really important to say out loud too, especially if you're listening. Like, it's okay to feel that way. Like, that is a normal thing. Like, that definitely happens. And it's a real thing. Like, you have a lot of adrenal fatigue, your endorphins crash out, like you're experiencing high fluctuations of regulating emotions, both, super happy, super anxious, scared. All those things are kind of rolled into one, and then it goes from all that over the top in all different directions to absolutely nothing. And so you crash out, basically.
I would say the only reason I'm not upset, we had the meet and it's over with and I'm not sad about it, only because I really enjoy the training. We already have a plan for me to get back in the equipment under some bars again in the next couple weeks. I already know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to roll with it and get into it again once it comes around. There's nothing I got to be sad about. And
I think speaking to that, it's very important, the way you said is you already have, even if it's not a big goal, you have a small plan, a little mini goal already set out. So it's you're not rolling into something completely new, but you do have a slight game plan action. So you don't have time to get that dread of not knowing what you're going to do, right?
You don't have to have everything planned out to a T, but just some direction really negates the feeling of well, it's over. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Right. But just as important in that is recovery and just enjoying life outside of powerlifting, whether that be for a week or two, whether now you're taking that extended vacation with your family because you can afford to not be at the gym every day with, you're out of a prep. And I've talked to a lot of people about this. Some of the greatest powerlifters always have hobbies that balance themselves out outside the gym, especially with the younger crowd, because I think so many younger lifters get to the point where social media influences to make powerlifting their entire personality, right? They don't have, all they do is go to work, go to the gym, and that's their life, right? They don't have anything outside of this. They don't go to the movies. They don't have friend groups. They won't go out to eat because it's fucking with their macros, right? It's all kinds of things like that. Now, keep in mind, if you do that, I'm not discouraging from that. And there's a lot of pro level lifters, especially bodybuilders too, that, that's part of it. But I'm saying as a recreational lifter, local meets, you're not setting the world on fire. You should really not be.
It's good to nourish the outside of that spectrum.
Grow as a person. You don't have to just grow in the gym.
And if you can focus on only gym for forever, more power to you. That's great, and if you can thrive on that. But it's good to have some, direction outside of the gym as well. It's healthy.
Yeah. So, for example, I was going stir crazy, and Carl knows this. I was super stressed about, because the gym was my life, because I would go to work, and then I'd open the gym, and I'd train at the gym, and I own this gym, and I coach people to go to different gyms, and I hosted meets at the gym and other gyms, and it was just gym and powerlifting and coaching, and everything revolved around that all the time, 24/7. And it was so stressful that some days coming in here, even though I love training with Carl, it was hard not to resent just
being in it more
of it nonstop. It was you couldn't breathe without it, and everywhere you turned, it was right there in your face. And it's hard to confront that every single day and not feel some type of way about it. So I think, what was it, 2 years ago now, 2 Christmas ago, me and my wife both were man, we need to get into a nerdy hobby or something. When I was a kid, I used to play this really dumb TCG card game called Magic the Gathering, and I said, you want to get into nerdy shit? Let's get into some nerdy shit. And ended up having a card shop across the street from the gym, literally across the highway, called Portals. And I've been playing nonstop for 2 years now, and it has been the greatest relief from the gym and the business I have found. Just because it literally is the exact opposite, and not only what I'm doing, who I'm around, the environment, the atmosphere, everything about that is the opposite of the gym. Minus the competitive
I was
thing.
about to say the only
Minus
thing
the
that's not
competitive
is
thing.
how competitive you take it.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing that you can't do.
That's a me problem. That's a me problem. But the only reason I'm using that for example, I'm not telling you to go play Magic, but you should, is finding that hobby outside to recover mentally and provide that, necessity to have other things outside the gym walls really makes training that much better. Because now if I'm taking a night off to go play Magic with the boys, or like me and Jess go do an event there or something, like when I come to train the next day when I haven't trained, I'm gung ho to train, right? Yeah, I'm excited to train. I don't feel burnt out all the time. Exactly. And you start to feel that. And I know a lot of you are younger lifters listening to this and you're like, well, I don't experience that yet. Well, you also haven't done it for like fucking over 12 years and done 30 plus meets either. So when you get to that point, let me know, because it happens.
If you're only 3 preps into this and 3 meets into this, you're still going to be like all about it. And you're still going to be like, everything's going to revolve around that.
Once you've had 3 surgeries on multiple body parts and torn everything at least once, like the excitement dies a little bit. The excitement dies just a little bit.
And that's just a normal thing.
Yeah, it totally is. And like, again, it's okay to feel that way. You just also have to realize it's okay and be okay with it.
Right. Like I have hobbies outside of the gym as well. I mean, like I'm not playing Magic yet. Preface. He's gonna try and get me in it. He's been trying for the past 2 years.
We did get you a giant gemstone dice this weekend for your D&D campaign.
So I'd be doing D&D campaigns.
I'd be doing D&D.
I got one going on right now, and the past 2 meets I've gone to, I've gone out with Travis to card shops in the area wherever we are. And I bought a set of dice the first time, and this time around I spent way too much money on one singular D20 that's like
I'm so sorry I subjected you to this. When we pulled up to that one shop and they had that Pokemon release, there's like 30 kids out there. God. I looked at Carl, I'm like, dude, I feel so bad I'm subjecting you to this. And he was like, what the fuck is going on?
You don't even like the Pokemon crowd that much. And
I like my crowd. I like my crowd, and that's it. I know what I'm looking for.
But, I mean, like, this is really sick. I'm going to talk about it for a second. It's like 2 pounds. It weighs so much.
He's still on about the dice. He is hype about this dice.
It's a D20 amethyst cut, like, with these rune numbers on it, and it looks so sick.
It is pretty tough.
Just with like, you put your flashlight on it, it looks so cool. You see the insides of the stone. But, that's something good to remember. Like, when I'm playing my campaign, I'm like, oh, I got to roll a check for something. I roll this D20. Hey, I went to a meet and I got this really cool die from that.
Yeah, and see, it's almost like tattoos. Like you do it for the memory and like who you got it with. And I was the same way. We got, I told somebody we got stuck in our room, and they were nonstop playing not the good ones. I say ones like there's more than one good one. It's just the OG.
It's just the OG.
They were playing every shitty Jurassic Park minus the original.
Like all the newer ones.
On repeat. So we watched like Fallen Kingdom and that other shitty one where they're like selling dinosaurs on eBay.
We watched like all 3 of them the first night.
So fucking bad.
We had a whole day in between. We come back and they're still on the next day.
Still playing it. So we went to the card shop and I definitely have this dinosaur in one of my decks. And lo and behold, they had a secret lair alternative art for the same card, and it was none other than a official Jurassic Park secret lair. So now every time I play that, I'm like, that's that. Me and Carl had to watch Jurassic Park for 12 hours fucking straight.
Yep. It's all good, and it's all in good fun.
Yeah, but it's all about memories and what you make of it. So if you're listening to this and you've done your first meet or you're getting ready to go into a meet, like, dude, just remember, it's an ongoing process. Like, your first meet won't be your best one. Your last one won't be your worst one. Like, it all interchanges, and it's all about, like, getting better, feeling better, and being consistent and loving what you do. And once you start falling in love with the process and being at the gym and being with the people and seeing what it shows you about who you truly are and who you want to be, that's when powerlifting really becomes what powerlifting is supposed to be about. When you stop trying for just rankings, you stop trying just to fucking impress people or edit your dumbass video to get a couple likes, and you start seeing like, fuck, man, this changed me, this changed people around me, this turned me into a better person who gives a fuck about other stuff. That's when powerlifting, for me, became what it needed to be.
Very well said. Very well said.
Do we miss anything?
I don't think so.
Hey, I will say, you stole the spotlight on this one, dude. We talked about your meet for like 30 whole minutes, bro.
That's why I said beforehand, I was like, how brief do you want this?
So you know what that means? And that means because this is episode 5, episode 6, you got to introduce the show, and I'm your co-host now because you got the big shoes to fill now. You're top dog.
Yeah,
you're the top dog.
We'll change up.
Yeah. So I think we're pretty much good, man.
Yeah, do you want to wrap things up?
Sure, man. Do you have any closing remarks first?
I think we talked about everything we needed to. I think it was great. We had a great experience at the meet. Like there were a few hiccups, but we all had a great time.
Yeah. For meets go, I've been to shittier ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we had a great time with the guys that came out. I loved meeting some of the guys from Death Wish and like anybody else who I talked to, like all the RPF or RPS people there that were running that meet. Like it was all a good time, and I'm glad I did it.
Let's give a quick shout out to all our sponsors that support this podcast, support me and Carl, support the cave, and make this what it is. It is our man Chris Northern with Sup Dog Supplements. We still haven't got the grape one. We got to get the grape one.
It's a blackberry, not a grape.
Oh shit! Yeah. I thought it said grape.
No, it's like a blackberry.
You lied to me. I think you said grape.
I saw purple.
You just immediately went purple drink. It's grape.
That's
great.
great.
Right. Kool-Aid. So definitely pick up some either high stem, no stem, sleepy by nights, or the hot dog, which I've actually really been enjoying. I've been taking the hot dog in the morning because I don't drink coffee, so
nice.
I do the caffeine as a stimulant in the morning. I've been really, really liking that. I'm trying to get lean and sexy since I can't touch a barbell anyway. So Chris is helping me with that. So shout out Chris Northern on the DMV, Eastern Shore. Keep it local. Support our mans. He actually just got done, what was it, Maryland's Strongest Firefighter?
I did.
Yeah, man. Very, very impressive stuff. So not only does he make shit for the sport, he is in the sport, which is very important to us. My man Liam, who owns Zone, all the high quality sniffy sniffs that I do the art for, has supported our 501c3 Kids Foundation, sponsors the pro, sponsors all kinds of strongman events. If it's a strength event, his name's probably been around it, man. He gives back to the sport constantly and makes the highest quality ammonia products you can grab on the market. So please make sure to support them as well. And last but certainly not least, our man, Big John Flagg, with his book, I almost said intentional strength, foundational strength, and also his coaching services, Rebuild Stronger, who offers clear-cut, no bullshit approaches to training and athletes, and not to mention incredible athlete himself. Looking forward and miss you, Big John. Hopefully we will see you sooner than later. Probably no luck 6, but I'm hoping sooner than that.
Maybe earlier than that.
Yeah,
if we're lucky.
Hopefully earlier than that. So, that all being said, we appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Episode 5 right here. Episode 6 next week. With love and grumpy paws. We out.
Peace.